heap of love, a heap of hate. Chimney, more while of the loving on the streets, so they keep me up, my G. When friends that.
Hi guys, so let's get started. So you're gonna place your dome cap onto your canvas, and then you're gonna pin your lace closure onto the cap. You're gonna make sure you're gonna pull it up a bit forward, a bit, not directly on the cap, and then you're gonna pin in the center, to the back, and then on the sides. You can always readjust to make sure that it is pinned straight. Then you braid the hair to get it out of the way. Then you're going to take your threaded needle and you're going to do your first knot. So I go through the skin of the cap and then through the loop and pull. So that's my first knot. Then I'll do it again. I go through the skin of the cap, through the loop, and then pull. And then for the third knot, I would go through the cap, twirl the thread around the needle 3 times, and then pull. And I do 3 knots just for extra security and to make sure that it doesn't lift. So once I finish the 3 knots, I will continue sewing. I pull the excess thread in the direction of where I'm sewing. So I lay that, I kind of pull it onto the cap, and then I just go through the lace closure and then under through that loop. Alright, so you go through the cap and you just go under the thread and through that loop, and then I just continue sewing all around. Using this thread, I continue sewing to the pin that is in the center of the closure, and while sewing you have to make sure that it is you tend to pull the closure because you want to make sure that it is laid flat. So this is what it looks like after. The stitching kind of looks like a bridge or a fence. So for my first track, I will place it on the nape of the cap, and I place it from ear to ear. So before sewing, you want to make sure that you go through the skin of the cap and not the actual cap, because if you go through the elastic, then the wig is not going to go on your head. So you don't want to do this. You want to make sure that you go through the actual skin of the cap. So for the stitching, I just do the same. I just go through the loop. I did 1 knot though, and then continue sewing right to the other end. And you also want to make sure that you pull it tightly because you don't want it to get loose or to move. And the reason why I'm placing this this track first is because sometimes when the wind blows, it tends to show the cap and your tracks, and you really don't want that, girl. So yeah. So once you're finished your first track, then you're just going to continue to fill in the space. You will use your pins to hold the track in place where you want to have it sewn, and you're going to do the same starting method. You basically go through the loop, you pull, and then you will go in and wrap around the needle and pull. So you have your double knots, and then you just continue sewing. So once I get to the end of my track, I don't cut them, I just flip them over. So I'll use the pin to secure the track at the other end, and then I will do 2 knots and then continue sewing. The main thing is that you want to have it secure and also not bulky, so you want to make sure that it is as flat as possible. So if you see me tugging, child, you know the reason. So I think this is a clearer view of me flipping over the track. So I do 1 knot, which is through the loop, and then I do the second one, which is twirling the thread around the needle 3 times and pull. I flip the track and do another knot. Then I continue sewing. When you run out of hair, at the end of the track, you just do 1 knot. You sew the new weave in place using the T-pins, and then you continue sewing. You start off with a knot and then you continue sewing. So you're going to continue sewing until you get to the end, and you're going to flip the track, and then you will continue with the same motions going up until you get to the top of the cap. Easy and repetitive, and you'll see it kind of shaping like a horseshoe. As I get closer to the top, I fold the hair a little bit further from the beginning of the cap. I do it in and out, so as this one is folded, the next track that comes on top, I will bring it directly to the front, close to the closure, and if there is excess, I will cut it. It gives, in my opinion, it gives a less bulkier appearance, and I want less hair to the front of the wig. So this is my last one. I lay it right next to the closure. I don't attach it except in areas where there's space. I also wanted to mention throughout my sewing, I only went under the weft and not through it. So now that the wig is finished, you're going to just cut off the excess cap under the lace closure because you have no need for it. I'll apply some bio silk to the hair and separate it into sections. Then I use my heat protectant, it's from Tresemme, and flat iron the hair. After flat ironing, I will go over the closure with my hair wax and use my hot comb. With the closures now, you can go for like a frontal effect with baby hairs. I don't like baby hairs, so I just go for like the basic closure look. The main and important goal is that the wig looks very realistic versus this wiggy look. You want people to ask if it's your hair, and the answer is always yes because you bought it. Period. So this is the finished look of my lace closure wig. The hair is very soft and light, and it also moves. There's this preconceived notion that AliExpress hair don't move compared to expensive bundles. Don't know where that came from. And there is a bit of flyaways because I did not use any holding spray on the hair. Yeah, and that's it. So I just want to thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!